What up, what up, what up, what up? Y'all know I'm cool on what y'all doing. It's story time, niggas. Fuck that. This shit was over 30 years ago. Plus like 32 years ago, 31 years ago, I don't know. I was like 15. I had to be 15. I was 15 years old. So I'm 47. So this shit was like 32 years ago. Whatever happened. But this shit's so funny. This is the craziest gangbanging shit that I ain't gonna say that I saw, but for me, just for it to be me, like niggas don't even come at me. Like that shit was crazy. But I'm gonna tell y'all the craziest shit that happened. So I'm going to Sin up north. And yes, it's my birthday, motherfuckers, but I was going to Sin up north. And I just happened to go to school this day. I don't usually go to school, but I happened to go to school this day for whatever reason. Maybe I was just going to pull a couple of people out and tell them, let's go kick it at my crib, whatever. But whatever I went to school for that day, I went to school. Because Nicholas Sin was a gang-banging school. It was crazy. But yeah. So motherfucking, I'm going to tell a story. And so, I go to school, and the little school officers pull me into the office. The school police, the real police though. They real police. I forgot the officers' names, fuck them, whatever. They pulled me in the office and said, they had me and a bunch of Blackstones, Elbow, a few of them niggas was in there. What's his name? Bowleg, not Elbow, Bowleg. All these niggas in there. Look, I ain't gonna lie. They pulled me and a bunch of stones, and I'm not even a stone, I'm a gangster, right? So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? They pulled me in this motherfucking office with all these Blackstones, and I think it was just all Blackstones, or it was a couple of Vice Lords. They was still clicked up with each other back then. You know, before the Vice Lords and the Stones got into it, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever politics they got going on. But I was like, so they pulled me in that bitch. And I shouldn't even went to school that day. These motherfuckers like, all y'all jumped on somebody. I'm a whole GD. Like, how the fuck did we jump on somebody? How? But I ain't say nothing. And they like, they saw me with a mask on and saw a little bit of my birthmark, which is another nigga with a birthmark. I ain't gonna say his name because he, you know, whatever. I ain't gonna say his name, but it's another nigga with a birthmark that's a CVL from Wilson. I ain't got nothing to do with none of this shit. How the fuck they got me and he ain't even there? So the Stones tell me like, look, ooh, it's woo. You ain't got nothing to do with this. They tell me that shit. You know, on the slide, like while we damn near handcuffed together in the office. And I'm like, tell him that shit. I said, tell him I ain't got nothing to do with this shit. I told him. He said, I can't do that. And I understood it. I was young. I was like 16. I said, I understand, bro. But like, damn, I gotta go down with y'all niggas, like, and we ops. This shit was crazy. So they take us to Foster. Whatever district that is, I don't know, but it's by Amundsen High School. They take us all to Foster. We all juveniles. And so we can just call our mama and get us out. You know, it ain't no problem. These niggas get out. They call my mama. She ain't answer. They called my auntie. She said, just let him out. And so by this time, Amundsen was getting out of school. Now, Amundsen is for the Vice Lords, Kings, and Stones. And I'm a GD. And the police knew that shit. The police knew I ain't had shit to do with that shit. But they said I had something to do with it. How? They just jumped on somebody random too. It wasn't even no op or nothing. They just jumped on somebody. And I don't have shit to do with that shit, but I'm in that bitch. That shit was crazy. And so they was like, who can you call? I call my mama. She don't answer. I know my auntie number. I call my auntie out south on low end, my block, Giles, right? I call her. And she talked to the police. She political too. She know how to get out that shit. And she like, let him out. Why she say that? Why she say let him out? So they let me out this motherfucking jail, the police precinct. They charged me, they let me out because I'm a juvenile, and gave me a token for the bus. I'm trying to like, can I call a cab? They like, you can't use the phone no more. No, we give you a token for the bus. I'm like, I need a cab, though. I need a motherfucking cab. Because I know what these niggas are. And so motherfucking, they like, nah. We go a token. You need two? They like, you need two? You need a grown, the little bitty tokens, the grown people tokens. This Chicago, right? So they like, you want a grown token? Whatever you want. We got it. Just get your ass out of here and see what happens. And so, this is why I'm happy I'm alive. This is why I thank God every day. So I get off the motherfucker. I get out the jail for some shit I didn't even do. That I don't have nothing to do with these Vice Lords and Stones. I'm a gangster. What the fuck I got to do with this? And so I get off the bus. Whole time that I take it, my first love, Tamara, went to Amundsen. She went to Amundsen. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Not even thinking about that shit really. I'm just at the bus stop. And it was a cold day. I had a Duke coat on, super GDS Duke coat on. You know what I mean? And the Kings hated Duke coats because the Spanish folks used to wear that shit. And I had a Duke coat on and a mask on that said Face G with a blunt on. And that's before y'all had the shiesties. We used to have like half masks and my face was covered. But I had that bitch airbrush, Face G. You know, on the other side I had a blunt. And motherfucking I get on the bus packed, full of Amundsen students, ahead of the Foster police station. Because I guess they don't stand on a bus stop by the Foster police station. I just do. Like a super victim, right? But I ain't never no victim. And so motherfucking, I get on the bus, it's crowded. I got my mask on so they don't really see my face. This is why they locked me up, because they said I had this mask and the nigga that did the shit had on the mask. That jumped on niggas with niggas and he had a little bitty birthmark from Wilson. Y'all know. If y'all from Chicago, y'all from up north, y'all know who I'm talking about. And so motherfucking, I get on the bus. Why I see my girlfriend Tamara, her best friend Brandy, that's my homie too. I see them on the bus, just like sitting there. I don't say shit to them, cause it ain't shit but ops on this bus. Latin Kings, Stones, Vice Lords, everything on this motherfucking bus. On CTA, on the real. Going down Foster. And then that bitch go down Berwyn to hit the L. And then to go back down Sheridan to go back up Foster. So I'm on this bus though. And I'm cool. Motherfucking, and I'm gonna say your name just cause I don't care no more, bro. I forgive all y'all. Cause y'all ain't do shit anyway. To be honest, y'all ain't do shit anyway, nigga. And so motherfucking, I see Moon and Caprice on the bus, and they say something to me. Moon used to go to sea, and Caprice, I don't really know still to this day like that. Just a little short, light-skinned nigga from off Wilson. But Moon was pissed off because he got kicked out of Sin, so he knew me. Moon got kicked out of Sin, he knew me. Real shit. And motherfucking he like, my girl knew my coat, even though I had the mask on. She knew my fucking coat, and she knew my mask too. And she like, Jabari, you said my name. And I'm like, stop, shorty, stop. And she like, Jabari. I'm like, what's up? And she like, what you doing over here? You know, she used to meet being on Moors. This is before I was even fucking with Lawrence like that. Like, we was fucking with them in school, but I wasn't plugged on Lawrence and no shit like that. I was from out south and from out Farwell. That was it. That's where I was from. And motherfucking, so she knew me from being her nigga and from my Farwell. She from over there. And Tamara like, Jabari. And I'm like, fuck, this bitch saying my name. But I just walked over there and was like, what's up? And Moon was like, Jabari? You know how they gang bang. He was like, Jabari? You folks, Jabari? Like, I know you ain't on this bus. And he like, I don't want to do nothing to you, but fuck that. Because y'all do it to me. And I'm sure he got jumped on a couple of times. So I'm sure, not that I touched him personally, but I get it. Fuck that. They did what they were supposed to do. I honor this shit. Fuck it. And so motherfucking, he like, Jabari? GD Jabari? Whatever he said. I said, shut up. What's up? I said something to that nigga like, shut the fuck up. And Caprice like, he a G-Day? He a J-Day? And I'm like, yeah. The whole bus looking at, the whole bus full of ops. Bullshit you got, and I'm with my girl. I'm with my first love, Tammy. Real shit, and her friend. And he like, we finna fuck you up. Moon like, we finna fuck you up. We got to. I don't want to do this. He told me. He said, I don't want to do this, but we gotta fuck you up. We got to, because you would do it. Y'all do it to us, whatever. So I said, what's up? And he like, everybody, don't get off the bus. This nigga Moon said, everybody, don't get off the bus. He said, we finna fuck this nigga up. Nigga, they got off their stops. They wasn't trying to hit shit. They was kings and all this other. They like, whatever. We ain't got time for this shit. To me, that's what it felt like. So we get, that's when we got to the L on Berwyn. We got to the L on Berwyn. In Chicago up north. We got to the L on Berwyn and everybody was off the bus. Now it's just me, my bitch, her friend, and Moon and Caprice. Now it's just us, folks. Now what? You know what they did? They started screaming out the window to the Stones that they was into it with. From off Winona and the Kings that they was into it with. And I want to say they had just kind of started getting into it when the Kings and the Stones got together and they started fighting the Vice Lords. It was around that time. And I'm like, damn. They call these like it's a disciple on the bus. It's a disciple on the bus. There's a disciple on the bus. And I'm on here with my bitch. This shit crazy. And they listening to these niggas that they kind of into it with. They ain't give a fuck. It was a disciple on the bus. We finna get him. On the real. And it's a true story. Can't make this up. The bus pull around on Foster. Nigga, I see T-Bone. That I don't even know T-Bone. I know Emmanuel tell me about these Stone niggas. Because that's one of my best friends still to this day. He'd say, so I see T-Bone them. They like, hey, T-Bone, they said his name. T-Bone. All these other niggas. T-Bone, rest in peace to T-Bone too, because he passed away. And so, I'm like, all these niggas, they outside with bats and bricks, and they ready to fuck me up. trying to get on the back of the bus, the front of the bus. The motherfucking bus driver closed all the doors. We back there rumbling. And my bitch and her friend helped. We beating their ass on the bus while these niggas trying to get on. Now that's facts. Let's talk about up north facts. That's facts. And so motherfucking we back here rumbling. He trying to stop them from getting on the back of the bus, because Moon done pulled the little thing, the red thing down on the back of the bus to let these niggas in. The bus driver run to the back while I'm fighting Caprice. Motherfucking swoop in and push these niggas off the bus. And Caprice and Moon. The bus driver, super bus driver nigga, like, on the real, why we fighting these niggas, man? Bullshit you not. And motherfucking, he closed the thing back, however he did it. I work now, I know how to do it now. So you push the thing back up and it closes back up. And the shit closed back up on the back. He got them off the bus. They hitting the bus with bats and bricks. They doing all this shit like it's a fucking Chevy. And that motherfucking bus driver grabbed that big ass wheel and pulled off like a Chevy on Foster and shit right by the motherfucking McDonald's. I know what I'm talking about. And he whipped around the corner, rolled up to Clark. They still chasing the motherfucking bus, nigga. They still trying, they just want to kill a disciple, that's it. They don't even give a fuck that I know all they homies and they know me, like, they don't give a fuck about none of that. They trying to kill a disciple. We get up to motherfucking Clark. So I know the Clark Street bus, they ain't run that far. You ain't gonna run from Sheridan to Clark and just smoke weed and drink and smoke squares. You ain't finna make it all the way up there. So the bus got the damage. I didn't get anything. Nothing. Thank God though. Humbly, thank God. Because they could have did whatever they wanted to, honestly. If they would have got on that bus, they could have did whatever they wanted to me. And motherfucking I jump off the bus at Clark. The Clark 22, it's the Clark 22 bus, right? It's still the Clark 22 bus? The Clark 22 bus was right at Foster and Clark at that time. The bus pulled up. Because he driving that bitch like a Chevy, getting away from these niggas. The CTA doing that for me, thank God. And so I get to the motherfucking Clark and Foster. Me and my bitch and her friend jump off. I'm like, jump on this bus, we jump on the bus. I get on the bus. I see two MCs on the bus. So MCs supposed to be my ops too, but they not really my ops. They're my boys. They're my boys. I saw Derek and Preston on the motherfucking Clark 22 bus when I got on my bitch. And I looked at them because I grew up with them a little bit. You know, I spent a couple of years across the street from San, Bryn Mawr, all that shit. And so I'm like, I see these niggas. And they like, what's wrong, nigga? Because they could tell we was running on that motherfucking bus. And so they like, what's wrong? I said, because they was into it with the Kings at that time. And I lied. I ain't gonna lie, I lied. I said, the Kings chasing us. Because it was, I ain't lying, because the Kings was chasing us too. The Stones and the Kings was chasing us. And I don't even know how they didn't whoop Caprice and Moon ass, because they were supposed to be into it with them, but they'd rather have a disciple. I get it. Whatever. But they just took Killer Ward and turned to Stoneville. This is around that time. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I ain't bullshit. So I get on the motherfucker, I like, the Kings chasing me, whatever. They like, fuck them crown heads, whatever. Ooh. And they like, you straight? Like, because I know these niggas. I know these niggas. I go to motherfucking Morris and Sheridan. And shortly after that, after all that shit happened, my first love broke up with me and said, I can't be with you because your life ain't gonna be nothing. Like you gangbang too much, your life ain't gonna be nothing. And now I'm 47. Thank God. That's why you don't listen to people. I made it. Thank God. I made it. And I'm still here at 47. But it's okay. And I forgive Moon and Caprice, T-Bone, all them Stones and Kings and shit that was chasing me. I forgive y'all, bro. Because I know we would have did the same shit to y'all, bro. I know we would have. I know it. Even if I would have saw y'all by myself, I would have left it alone. But if it's 2 or 3 other niggas with me and they saw y'all, I get it, man. Y'all, we would have chased y'all down too. And that's just how that shit go. That's why you don't gang bang. Stop gang banging, people. It's stupid. You might make it in life somewhere. Listen to me. And only got 3 viewers down. But let me talk some bullshit on here. Everybody will be on here. But y'all see it later on. It's my birthday, motherfucker. I'm still kicking it. What the fuck? Fuck that.